Okay, I think we will get started. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're happy to have your participation today. My name is Mariam, and I am the Marketing and Partnerships Coordinator at Sustainability Kiosk. I'm excited to be your moderator for today's webinar, and it's the first one of our series, Supplier Connect Webinar by Sustainability Kiosk. So yeah, it's our first one. So yeah, we're just going to see how it goes and hope you enjoy it. So today we're looking at a crucial topic, how hospitality can turn ESG data into real measurable action. Whether you're a GM, engineer, or sustainability lead, this session is about practical steps and not just the theory. So our agenda today is as follows. Okay, so just a little welcome from my side and then an introduction to the webinar. Then I will be handing over to our Supplier Connect, the Considerate Group, for them to be talking about ESG data challenges, a live demo of their Conserve platform with features and a real-life case study, and we'll be doing a Q&A and conversation, then a wrap-up. Just a couple of points. Feel free to drop any of your thoughts and questions in the chat box, and we'll get to them during our Q&A session. And the webinar is also being recorded to be shared with you at a later stage. So for those of you that are new to us, Sustainability Kiosk started as a platform to connect hotels with solutions. It has since grown into a regional movement supporting over 40 hotels through consulting, training, and community building. We operate under three simple but powerful pillars. Connect, so a curated platform of over 55 verified sustainable solutions that balance environmental impact, profitability, and guest experience. This is found on our website. Consult is our second pillar, so providing strategic advisory for over 40 hotels in the region, with a hands-on advisory built for the operational realities of hospitality. So our team come from a hotel operations background, so they know the ins and outs of everything, and so that helps with our consulting. And our last pillar is educate. So through Host, which is our hospitality operations sustainable training workshops, we also have our Responsible Hotelier Summit and storytelling via our blogs and podcasts. So these are our three main pillars. And as I mentioned, we operate across all of these. So our ambition. So by 2026, we are looking to facilitate 100 plus solution matchups between hotels and solution providers, train 1,000 hospitality professionals through our host trainings and toolkits. And we're aiming to reach 10,000 professionals through events, workshops, and podcasts, including our flagship Responsible Hotelier Summit, which brings together industry leaders and change makers to inspire action. Our Responsible Hotelier Summit at the end of the year, so yeah, I'll get into it later on. This is our 2025 calendar of events, so we're constantly looking for ways to connect with the community and to bring hoteliers and suppliers together, just to kind of, yeah, as I mentioned, create a community and develop networks. So in Q1 of 2025, this year, we had our iftar at Le Maire. So we had 20 individuals from the industry join. We've had 8 audits. We've had 84 people attend our trainings. And we've had 6 different streams of on-demand content, including newsletters, case studies, and podcasts. Q2, so the quarter that we're in now, on the 19th of June, we'll be holding another networking event. Venue is to be confirmed, so stay tuned. We're also kicking off our Supplier Connect webinar, so which is today's our first one, as I mentioned. We've got 6 different audits and readiness briefings and hotel visits, so we're going to be out and about quite a bit. And we also, so far, have had 31 people join our trainings. Q3, we've got another networking event, and then Q4 will be our Responsible Hotelier Summit. So that will be at the Anantara, downtown Dubai. So save the date if you haven't already, because I will be sending out more comms about this event shortly. I'm just gonna delve into our pillars really quickly. Our Connect pillar. So this is our platform, as I mentioned earlier, to explore validated solutions. So all validated solutions are listed for free. So if you're a supplier for energy management, water conservation, et cetera, you're able to list on our website. You can pay a one-time annual membership fee for any social media promotion and access to our year-long events. Our members also receive amplified visibility through our events, campaigns, and content. So if you're a provider with impact, we'd love to hear from you. You can always browse our website to see what sort of solutions are on there. But so far, we have over 55 vetted solutions, and we're constantly growing. Consult. So this is our consulting portion of our pillars. So we start with the vision at the top. So this is where the hotels are looking to be in terms of their brand reputation, in terms of being compliant with ESG. And then, so this is where they come to us and they say, this is what we want to achieve. And basically the results that they look for are to save costs, have financial leverage, gain recognizable certifications, and also build a team culture and community based on sustainability. And so how we get to all of these results to eventually achieve the vision is through the processes. So we analyze all the different processes within the hotels. We look at resource efficiency and circularity within energy, water, and waste. Benchmarking as well across the industry. We look at their CSR initiatives, and we also look at their responsible consumption. So analyze each one of these different aspects helps the hotel reach their vision. These are some of the different hotel clients that we work with, and we also collaborated with Emirates Green Building Council, World Sustainable Hospitality Alliance, and Dubai Sustainable Tourism. And this is our team. So we have Radhika, who is a founder of Sustainability Kiosk. Radhika is on the call today. We've got Tiffany, who is Director of Sustainability. So she's always out and about at the different hotels. We've got Stella as well, who's always out and about doing lots of different audits at hotels and extremely knowledgeable. And then we have me, so I'm marketing and partnerships. And I'm always just kind of around as well. So thank you for being here and for being part of this growing community. So if today sparks something, we'd love to continue the conversation. So moving on to today's topic, we are talking about best practices in data management, showcasing the next gen ESG tool. And we have the Considerate Group with us to dive deeper into this. They're a UK-based B Corp consultancy that work with hospitality businesses on becoming more sustainable. And we're joined by Nick Walsh and Leah Jeffra Benson. So welcome, Nick and Leah. I'll be handing over to you guys now.
Thank you so much, Mariam. We're delighted to speak to you all today and to kick off this great webinar series. So thank you so much for having us. I just wanted to start quickly with a little presentation of Considerate Group. So we're a data-led sustainability consultancy. And we're really dedicated exclusively to the hospitality sector. So over the past 13 years, we've supported clients across over 500 properties in more than 4 continents, helping them improve ESG performance, reduce environmental impact, and align with both investor and guest expectations. What makes us really unique is our kind of multidisciplinary team. We're a combination of sustainability and hospitality experts, building engineers, and data scientists. This mix really allows us to connect strategic goals with technical implementation and real-world operational insights. We work with a wide range of clients, from luxury brands like, the likes of Utka Collection, to asset managers and lifestyle operators such as Brookfield and the Hoxton. So what really brings, all of these organizations together is a commitment to responsible growth and long-term value. We also combine our strategic sustainability advice with data-driven tools, including our own ESG platform, Conserve, which is designed specifically for hospitality. It enables properties to track energy, water, waste, and carbon data, linking performance to certifications such as BREEAM in use. We're, of course, very proud to be B Corp certified and active partners in global sustainability movements, from the Global Tourism Plastics Initiative to the Sustainable Markets Initiative, and of course, our collaboration here in the region with Sustainability Kiosk. So our mission really is to make sustainability practical, measurable, and impactful for hospitality businesses, and we're very excited to share our experience with you today. Just quickly on our services, on the next slide, please, Mariam. I'd like to give you a quick overview of the services that we offer. So, of course, at the center of our work, and what we will very much focus on today is Conserve, our ISO 50001 aligned data monitoring platform, which is tailored to hospitality. It supports properties in tracking their energy, water, waste, and emissions data, as I just mentioned, in a very much a structured way, and is now used across a wide range of portfolios to drive performance and compliance. Beyond Conserve, we also support clients with a wide range of advisory services like ESG strategy, action plans and training, as well as regulatory alignment. And we also focus on, decarbonisation, conducting energy assessments, carbon reporting, and setting net zero targets. Some other key areas that we cover include certifications like B Corp, Green Key, and BREEAM in use, ESG due diligence for acquisitions, and annual ESG reporting, which usually covers like environmental, social governance metrics with assurance support. So that's a little bit about us, but I'd like to now focus on the content of the webinar today. So starting with, which ESG data challenges hospitality currently faces. So, of course, as a hospitality and sustainability consultancy, we understand that as a sector, hospitality is very much different to real estate. The operational reality of running hotels and resorts, having 24/7 guest service, high service standards, and asset intensity brings unique ESG and data challenges. Sustainability in hospitality can be complex. It goes beyond certifications or just compliance. It involves integrating ESG into daily operations while still delivering exceptional guest experiences. There's also growing pressure, of course, from regulators, investors, and customers, all with various expectations. So for the sake of this webinar today, we've identified 5 key ESG and data challenges that are particularly relevant for the hospitality sector in the Middle East, starting with, energy-intensive operations. So hotels in the Middle East face extremely high energy loads, especially for cooling due to hot climates and heavy infrastructure. And then you can add to that desalinated water use and reducing emissions, which becomes particularly complex. As a second challenge, the kind of cost versus sustainability issue. So ESG investments are gaining traction, but it's not always easy to justify capital investments, especially in price-sensitive leisure markets. So there's a real need here to link sustainability with long-term efficiency gains and guest value. We also have regulatory complexity. So across the region, we're seeing a mix of national mandates and voluntary frameworks. You can think of, Dubai's green building regulations, Saudi Vision 2030, or the ESG stock exchange guidelines. Operators often span multiple jurisdictions, which makes compliance challenging. As a fourth challenge, we have data gaps. So collecting reliable ESG data across hotel brands, asset types, and supply chains is time-consuming and fragmented. Many properties still rely on manual processes or incomplete systems, making it hard to track progress or validate performance. And finally, the fragmented ownership structures. So decision-making is often delayed due to the separation of owners and operators in hospitality, particularly in mixed-use or sovereign-backed developments. This might slow down progress on sustainability initiatives and green investments. Now that I've presented the challenges, I'd like to talk to you about the opportunities that ESG represents in the hospitality sector for all stakeholders, really. So when approached strategically, sustainability can actually become a driver of differentiation, value, and resilience, and not just a compliance exercise. So if we break that down across 3 groups, we have the first one, brands and operators. So here we're seeing a clear trend. GCC markets are attracting more eco-conscious travelers, especially high-spending guests from Europe and Asia. These guests are actively looking for sustainable, wellness-focused properties, so strong ESG credentials are fast becoming a competitive advantage in luxury. And of course, operational efficiency is a major lever in high consumption environments. Energy and water saving measures are not just good for the planet, they reduce utility costs. So we've seen operators benefit from, smart systems, circular economy practices, and digital tracking to stay ahead. Next, we have the owners and asset managers. So there's a growing pool of green financing options, including sustainability-linked loans that can be used to fund energy-efficient upgrades, retrofits, or certification efforts. These can significantly boost asset value, plus investors and governments alike are now prioritizing resilience, ESG compliance assets. It's benefiting all around. Properties that can demonstrate this tend to retain their value and avoid the so-called brown discounting that's starting to affect non-compliant assets. Finally, lenders and investors. So there's a regulatory tailwind here. ESG disclosure requirements are emerging across GCC stock exchanges and tourism authorities. Early compliance isn't just about ticking boxes, it's about future-proofing investments and enhancing long-term asset reputations. And all of this depends on data-driven decisions. Reliable ESG data will help with risk management, tracking progress, and ensuring that sustainability strategies deliver long-term returns. I will now hand over to my colleague Nick to cover the next section.
Thank you, Leia. So the next section is more about how Conserve can help you succeed. So just a quick introduction of Conserve. So Conserve is formed from a partnership between ourselves and DeepKey. So ourselves, we've got the 10 years of hospitality experience, and then DeepKey is one of the leading real estate ESG software developers. So essentially what this means is that you get the best of both worlds. You get one of the market leading ESG softwares, and then you get it coupled with bespoke hospitality designed features and insights tailored to this very unique sector. Everything that we do at Considerate is based loosely or directly on the impact cycle. So the impact cycle always starts with data collection. So our platform helps us collect and organize relevant data as a single source of truth. And we have access to over 5,000 automated connectors, which reduces the reliance on manual data uploads. And some of these automated connectors include DEWA, the Dubai Energy and Water Authority, and Rackers in Ras Al Khaimah. Then once we've collected this data, that's when we can start to take insight and look at benchmarking, key trends, and understand the consumption and understand our impact. And then from that, we have this somewhat optional step of reporting. So the platform can help streamline reporting processes, and this can either be for regulatory or voluntary requirements, and it can be for internal or external reporting. And then when you combine all of that, you can then start thinking about taking action. So tracking your progress against your targets, and also beginning to deliver change, have an impact. And finally, we go back around to data, which is an important part of validating your actions and ensuring that what you're doing has an impact and can then be rolled out across other properties. Conserve is a hospitality-focused platform. So you'll see later when I provide the demo, it has key hospitality-specific features. So when you log in, there's the dashboard, which will give you an overview of all of your KPIs, including greenhouse gas and cost data, as well as if you have multiple properties, your top and bottom performers. Then we have the hospitality-specific benchmarking, which includes custom industry-specific benchmarks, which helps you identify underperforming assets and compare your performance against your industry peers. And finally, we have hospitality-specific overlays. So these can be room nights, food covers, and other hospitality-specific KPIs. which allows you to understand what drives your consumption and what in particular drives changes in your consumption. Just a quick note on the quality and security of data within Conserves. These are various certifications / standards that the platform is aligned to. So ISO 3000 guarantees the data quality of the platform. ISO 27001 guarantees data security and data protection and privacy of all data on the platform. And ISO 14064 guarantees the relevance, consistency, completeness, accuracy, and transparency of the carbon data on the platform. And then together, all of this helps you achieve your energy management certification, which is the ISO 50001 certification. And unlike other platforms, it's not necessarily just the access to the platform that we provide. So we have a team of analysts at Considerate that can bespoke reports with advanced analytics. These can either be asset level reports, which are aimed to really drill into the consumption, identify trends, anomalies, and help provide data-driven recommendations to improve performance. Or they can be portfolio level reports, providing a bird's eye view of consumption and allowing you to identify priority assets that maybe need more action or more investments to bring them back into line with the rest of the portfolio. Next slide, please. Thank you. And finally, within my section here, we've got the data-driven decision-making part. So this is around the action parts of the impact cycle. So within the platform, you can look at a CRREM analysis to understand where your property is compared to a Paris-compliant decarbonisation pathway for the industry. And then you can use the investment plan function to add planned or considered measures over the next 20 to 30 years and understand the projected impact of these measures in terms of your energy and carbon intensity, again, with that Paris-compliant benchmark in mind. And I will now hand back to Leah for a couple of case studies.
Thank you. So before we dive into the demo, which really is the most exciting part, I just wanted to show you a couple of case studies from our clients in the Middle East so you can have a very kind of concrete overview of how Conserve can support your hotel. So starting with a case study from one of our global luxury hotel clients, a group with some of the most iconic and energy-intensive hotels, including several in the Gulf region. So this particular client wanted a data-led approach to reduce energy use and operational costs while staying aligned with their sustainability goals, all without compromising on guest experience. So for this client, we conducted energy assessments across key properties and implemented our Conserve platform to support continuous tracking and improvements. This led to tangible results, including HVAC and BMS system upgrades, the detection of costly billing errors, and over 1.2 million dinners in savings across 9 hotels in just 18 months. Plus, all energy and water projects are now centrally tracked for visibility and accountability. On another case study, just to show you a little bit different type of business. So this next example comes from a premium service department brand with properties in major cities, including Dubai. The challenge here was scaling ESG performance tracking across a fast-growing portfolio. They needed a centralized, reliable system to manage utilities and track progress over time. We helped them automate data collection, covering electricity, gas, water, and waste, and supported them with quarterly analysis and dedicated analyst support. This delivered over 85,000 dinners saved per site within 2 years, a payback period of less than 6 months per site, and a measurable carbon impact with 61 tons of CO2 emissions reduced per site, which is roughly the equivalent to 24 flights between London and Dubai. Both of these examples show how a targeted data-led approach can deliver real financial and environmental returns, especially in resource-intensive hospitality settings. So now I'll hand over to Nick again for the live demo of the platform, which hopefully will bring a lot of answers.
So Nick, I believe you need to share your screen then.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Cool. I believe you should be able to see my screen now. Thanks for that, Leah. So yes, this is Conserve. So as I said previously, Conserve is our bespoke sustainability data management platform, which we've designed specifically with the hospitality industry in mind. So when a client logs onto the platform, this is the first page that they will see. So you can see here the dashboard, so the number of buildings within this portfolio, the number of meters, the total area, the total rooms sold, and then further down, we can then see the client's performance. So we can see the total energy consumption, water consumption, waste, and cost. And then we can see all of this in terms of carbon emissions, split location-based and market-based, and also by scope 1 and scope 2. And you can also see a performance indicator, so showing the change compared to the previous year. And then towards the bottom, we can also see this performance split by metric. So we can see electricity, gas, and then if relevant, district heating and cooling systems, propane, water, and waste. And then towards the bottom, we can also see a trend overview. So this just shows how the performance across the portfolio has changed on a monthly basis. And as I said, you can then see the most and least efficient buildings in terms of energy intensity. The dashboard can be customized, so looking at different time periods, so last month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months of custom dates. And you can also filter, so if you have a multinational portfolio, you can filter by country, or you can filter to include specific buildings and only looking at those their performances. Moving on to the portfolio page, this is how you can navigate to specific assets. So on the portfolio page, you can see similar KPIs to the ones that I just presented on the dashboard, just in a slightly different format. And then similarly, you can see the trends in the portfolio's consumption. But here you can also have a look at the impact of some external factors. So here we're looking at heating degree days as the overlay, which is a function of how much the hotel needed heating. You can also look at cooling degrees as an overlay. So this is warmer temperatures, so functions as how much cooling was required at the hotels. And finally, you can look at room nights as an overlay to see how increased occupancy impacts the hotels, or in this case, the portfolio's trends. And then finally, in this section, you can also see trends in your occupancy KPIs that you're tracking. So the platform allows you to track up to 5 occupancy KPIs. These are food covers, room nights, guest nights, outsourced laundry, which is important in benchmarking, and also a broad one we call activity usage, which can be tailored to each hotel. So for some hotels, it might be golf course users, for others, it might be spa visitors, for others, it might be conferencing events or banquets. And then within this page, you can also navigate to specific asset pages. So if we take a deep dive into this specific hotel, we can then see what the page looks like at the asset level. So for each asset, you can see some key information around the property. And then we can see the various meters in place at the asset. And then moving down, we can see similar trends to what we looked at previously, again, with the option of looking at overlay for heating, cooling, and occupancy. And we can also see down here, monthly KPIs showing room nights, total energy consumption, and then energy consumption per room night, emissions per room night, and water consumption per room night. And if you want to look at it in terms of guest nights, as we know a lot of properties do for their water, you can also use this toggle to look at the consumption per guest night. And then finally, if you have high frequency data, it's also possible to take an even deeper dive at meter level. So we can see here for this hotel, the daily trends in their electricity consumption with an overlay of maximum and minimum temperature. And we can also look at the heat map to understand which parts in the week are on average the most intensive time period. So we can see here that Wednesday at 2 p.m. for this hotel is the most electricity intense half hour or hour. So there's a few other sections that you can look at your past performance. So you can export any data from various customizable exports, including monthly consumption, hourly consumption, and also carbon-specific exports. The carbon-specific export also provides you with information around what emission factors are used by the platform and what the source of these emissions factors is, which means that you can have confidence in any numbers that you are then reporting internally or externally. And then finally, the visual analytics page provides you another suite of options to look at your past performance, including comparing KPIs across multiple assets and using scatter charts to identify priority assets. I'm going to quickly discuss data collection. So as I said previously, one of the most powerful features of the platform is the access that we have to over 5,000 automated connectors. And what this means is that we can really reduce the reliance on manual data uploads, which A, decreases the workload of our clients, and B, decreases the possibility of erroneous data entry, which is always a possibility when there's human involvement. So the way that the connectors work, there's various options. The optimal approach is to just log into a supplier through our platform, and from then on, any new invoice that is posted on the supplier portal will be automatically scraped by the platform and allocated to the correct meter. And then if that's not possible, we do have the invoice PDF drop option. So for this one, you just select the provider. So for example, the Dubai Electricity Water Authority, and then you just drag and drop a PDF invoice, click next, upload it, and once again, the key data like consumption cost, start and end date will be automatically read and allocated to the correct meter. And then just for my final stop off on this quick tour of Conserve, I just wanted to touch on the investment plan. So as I said, all the previous visualizations were more around looking at your past consumption, but the investment plan allows you to start looking at the future. So with the investment plan, you can see if you create investment plans for your assets, you can see the projected spend, both in terms of investments under consideration and approved investments over the next 2 to 5 to 20 years. And then you can also see your energy pathways and your carbon pathways. So the way these work is that the projection is based on your last full year of data, and then any planned measures such as chiller replacements or installation of solar are then taken into account in the projections. So if, for example, there's an asset with a planned chiller replacement, which will save up to 15% of their energy consumption, you would then see a 15% drop on that asset's projection for that year and then for subsequent years. And then finally, we've got the CRAM pathway overlay here, which, as I said previously, shows your performance against the industry-specific Paris compliant decarbonisation pathway, which is to say what the industry needs to do to keep the warming of the planet below 1.5 degrees Celsius. So I'll now hand back to Mariam to sort of lead the Q&A section. Hopefully you found the demo interesting, and happy to show more if required.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Really appreciate that. I'm just going to share my screen again. Sorry, just sharing my screen, sorry. Yeah, so thank you so much, Nick and Leah. That was quite interesting. And so obviously this can be used across all regions and across all sorts of hospitality platforms. That's quite handy. So in terms of any Q&As, let me just stop sharing for a moment just to see if we've got any questions. I hope everyone's been asking questions. Okay, so someone has just asked, can you share more on the connectors and what it means? Connectors in terms of the sustainability kiosk connectors, or is that the question based on sustainability kiosk connectors, or was that?
I'm assuming it may be the connectors I was talking about on the demo.
The connectors.
In terms
Okay,
of how
fine. So yeah, so Nick, then I'll let you take part on that one.
Thank you. So yeah, just in terms of how we get the data into the platform. So there's various ways that we can get data into the platform. There are obviously the sort of manual Excel uploads that you'll probably be familiar with from potentially other platforms. But as I said, the gold standard for us is automation. So we've got various different connectors or integrations with utility providers, sub-metering providers, BMS systems, etc. And what that allows us to do is essentially automatically collect the data from them, which means as I said, it should be more accurate because you don't run the risk of human error, and B, it takes a load of the workload involved in keeping the data platform up to date off of the end user. And then the third feature of this, which I did mention, is often the resolution of the data that we're able to collect from these automated connectors is higher, which means that we might get sub-meters at a property rather than just the main meter, or it means we might get half-hourly or hourly data, which then allows the possibility of looking at those heat maps that I showed you, where you can then understand why specific parts of your day, or which specific parts of your day are the most electricity intensive.
Awesome, very interesting. So I'm just gonna hand over to Radhika, as I believe that she would like to touch upon this a bit further. Radhika, it's all yours.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Nick and Leah, for sharing. Just thought as we do this for the first time, we could also do a quick poll. So I'm just launching a poll on the site. And thank you, Miriam, for setting this up. It would be interesting if you could give feedback on the poll as you're seeing this. It's anonymous. It just helps us to keep, measuring what do you want to see in the future, what sort of questions. So yes, please. Names not recorded. Results will be shared later. So appreciate if the audience on the call could kindly access the poll to give us your questions. We just want to have 4 questions. And the first one was, did the session provide valuable insights for your hotel operations? And then the second one is, what type of solution providers should we feature next? Considerate jumped on this one, which is we are privileged to have them. What do you want to see next? And the third question is, how do you prefer Supplier Connect to be structured next time? Do you prefer like a short one? Do you prefer a panel format where we have multiple suppliers at the same webinar, or keep it short? This kind of small group that we have today. So we're hoping that it would be more interactive, that you ask the questions while Nick and Leah, the subject matter experts, are here in the group. And then the fourth one is just a quiz. Are you able to access the poll? Are you able to do this? You can access. Okay. Great. I've had only one response though. So I'm really thinking either people on the call.
We have a second one. We have a second one.
We have a second one then, please. Yeah. And also, while you're doing the poll, just wanted to understand more on, you can always feel free to use the Q&A to drop your questions, to ask anything you want, because it's a small group. And the whole reason for keeping it small was to make it intimate, was to make it in a way that we have enough time for the deep dive, that we have enough depth to these conversations. So.
Maybe while we wait for everyone to ask questions, Miriam, if you want to reshare this slide, we have a special offers for the attendees
Yeah.
of this
Oh, yeah.
webinar that we're delighted to share with everyone.
Yep. Let me pull it up now. Can everybody see that?
We can see it, so I'm assuming everyone
Amazing.
can. Perfect. So yeah, this is a special offer for people attending this webinar who've registered for free onboarding of any new or additional assets to Conserve, and it's valid until the end of June 2025, actually.
Yeah, June 2025.
It's June.
So you guys can get your phones out and scan the QR code.
Yeah, exactly.
Shall we, Leah, is it
Obviously,
fine if we share that also on to the list of attendees if we put that on an email?
Absolutely,
Because we know who's
absolutely.
attended. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, please do.
You can just change it to 2025.
Yeah.
Radhika, can you see any more responses?
Yeah, I can see now. It looks a lot better. It feels like people have been listening to us, I must say.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Let me pull open the survey. I don't know how to show this, but let me pull open the.
Hang on. If I stop sharing, then maybe you can.
No, I don't think it works, but I'll just call it out quickly. Did the session provide valuable insights to your hotel? We've had everyone respond to this, and it's about 83%. So 17% have said somewhat. Okay, so there's work to do for kiosk and for the team and for whom we bring on board. What type of solution providers should be featured next? It's about the information I've got back is regulation, information, energy audit, specific to regulation data. So this was one of the data sessions, but it seems like there is more appetite to have more data sessions going forward. And also, I've noted on the other things that you've said. How do you prefer
is a big
Supplier?
topic.
Sorry, Leah?
I was saying data is quite a big topic in sustainability.
Correct. And the third question is, how do you prefer Supplier Connect to be structured next time? 43% have said keep the same format, small group, interactive, 40 to 60 minutes. 29% have said have multiple suppliers at the same webinar. And no one's asked for panel format. I think panel formats have gone. No one likes that kind of a format anymore where we bounce back and forth. Whereas 30%, one third have again said keep it shorter, 30 minutes. So that's kind of, I think it's about having it's interesting feedback. We need to think on this again, look more deeper on this. And the last one, I basically said Conserve has 3,000 connectors, and it's of course connected to the UAE main suppliers. And because the call is happening in Dubai to Deva, and everyone's responded yes. So everyone's listening to you, Nick, and that's a great audience.
Great to hear.
That's wonderful.
I don't see a poll, Ralph says. Oh, Ralph, there was a poll we had launched and okay.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, I've had 9 responses.
Good to know.
Yeah, but overall, yes. If there are no more questions, I would say the recording is still available, right? So anyone wants to come back to listen to it, we could always certainly make it available. And we will share you the details of Nick and Leah. So if anyone wants to know more and avail the offer, there's certainly the case.
Thank you so much, Radhika and Mariam, for having us. It was a pleasure, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, thanks for coming on board. We really appreciated it. For you guys as well to be the first ones on our Supplier Connect series. So yeah, we're hoping. Yeah, it is a bit of an honor. So yeah, we're glad to have you guys on board, and yeah, we look forward to kind of speaking to you and connecting with you again. And yes, to everybody else in the audience, thank you so much for your time and your participation today. I hope you took at least one piece of information away from this session. If you'd like to get in contact with us, please email us at info@sustainabilitykiosk.com or just reach out to myself or Radhika or Stella. through LinkedIn or through our website. And we'll keep you updated as well with our next Supplier Connect episode. We're getting some new suppliers lined up, so